Well, good morning, everybody. How are you? I hope this finds you well. I know I got some creepy glasses on. These are my cheaters. I left my glasses at home. I was in such a hurry this morning. So these are my little fun cheaters that I need them. Um, I'm having an allergy day, so no makeup, but that's okay. I'm beautiful just the way I am. Welcome, I made okay. This is the alternate juror, and we have verdict watch today. I am going into the bios of the records. Today is the see, I can't see my watch without it. Okay, today I can see that one. It's the 19th. So we are going to go back to April the 2nd. And I'm trying to look at one. Would be afternoon. Mute it because I'm trying to find when the woman doctor gets on the stand and starts talking about the dragging of the body. So let's kind of start it from there. Let me share screen so you guys can watch. Oh, that's not the one. That's the one. Share. And let's get rocking and rolling. We are on verdict watch. And as soon as I go in the courtroom this morning, I'll grab it. I got to find it. But here we go. I think they're on a sidebar on this. Let me. Let me skim a little further. Let's see if they're still on sidebar. It's going to take a second. It's a video. It takes a second to kick up. So, trial rested yesterday. Everybody rested. The prosecution did 3 weeks. The defense, a day and a half. My coffee, double shot of caffeine this morning. I don't know why this is still spinning. Let me encourage it.
Out when it comes into that body. Is it the way your stick is showing now?
I don't know exactly how the bullet is when it enters the body. I know how the bullet traveled through the body.
Okay, so then walk the jury through. First question is, if it hits a rib, can there be, we've heard the word yawing or deflection. Can there be a possible deflection from that bullet?
Yes, ribs are hard materials. And so once it impacts a rib or 3 ribs, its trajectory is going to be altered in some way, shape, or form. It's not going to be continuing along that same trajectory as it had before it fractures those 3 ribs.
So it's possible, doctor, that a shot from this angle to the victim can hit this rib cage at kind of a level line and deflect upward out through the chest plate.
Yes.
That's a possibility, right?
It is.
Right, you can give me the stick. You can sit down too. Let me take that. In addition, doctor, to the skeleton, you got no information about what happened the day of January 30th, do you?
No.
You don't know how many shots were fired, what the victim, there's another victim in the case, what they testified to. You got no information.
No.
So hypothetically, I'm going to give you a hypothetical, right? When most people hear a gunshot, what's the common reaction by most people when they hear a gunshot?
To duck.
To duck. So hypothetically, if someone hears 3 gunshots, their reaction would be?
To get low.
To get low.
Not
right?
necessarily.
So it's not uncommon for, I'm not sure this is going to be working. It's not uncommon for this person to be ducking out of the way.
Take cover, yes.
To take cover. And you got no information about the number of rounds fired or which round hit this person? Do you?
I do not know.
That's not an uncommon reaction when you hear 3 rounds fire, then to duck or cover, right?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
We also don't know the variable. We have a stationary skeleton in front of here, right?
Yes.
We don't know if this individual is moving or mobile, do we?
No.
That would change some of the variables in this case, right?
Yes.
Especially if someone's walking, skipping, or even running, that would change trajectory and how that bullet enters the body.
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
Would any of those variables impact the bullet with the body?
Yes.
We talked about on cross-examination about abrasions. Do you remember those questions? You saw some photographs.
Yes.
And you don't know, you don't have any information from any other witness about what they observed the day of with this victim. Do you?
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
It's just a yes or no. You have no information.
That's leading.
I do not.
Wait, wait. Sorry.
It's a yes or
Wait,
no.
hold on. First of all, when there's objection, please hold off on the answer until I'm able to rule. It's a leading question.
Snap.
A leading question is a question that suggests the answer.
Do you have any information of what was testified about what happened to this victim?
And you cut the judge off. Why are you
Yeah,
cutting the
January
judge off?
No.
Sorry, guys. We are replaying this part because this is the video or the
Did
transcript.
you see any photographs
that the jury
of
has requested
the
for
victim's
yesterday?
pants?
There's something in this testimony they want
Not
to.
that I recall. No.
You don't recall the victim's pants if they had holes in them?
No. I don't recall.
I didn't like her because she never looked at well, she glances over at the prosecution when the defense
Just
gets
one
up
second,
there.
Your
She's
Honor.
just staring off in the corner. No, yes, blah 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 blah. Never looked at anybody. Just kind of a irritated that she's there attitude.
I'm going to show you a photograph in defense exhibit. I want to say it's
But I love what
AAA.
the defense
been
did with
admitted
her.
into evidence. Do you see that photograph?
I do.
Do you see you see the pants, right?
Yes.
Based on the photograph, I can zoom in. Any holes or anything on these pants? Kind of grainy. I got this.
It's hard to see, but nothing obvious or glaring.
Well, the jury's going to have the photograph in evidence. Let's talk about the time, the pronouncement of death. You remember the questions on cross-examination about the pronouncement of death?
Yes.
And pronouncement of death is, I think you tested, explain again what the pronouncement of death is.
It's when someone is examined and determined to be dead. And that is when the time of death. It's for the state of Arizona, that's the accepted, agreed upon time of death.
Is that necessarily the time of the actual victim's death?
No, rarely, only in a hospital situation that the death is witnessed. Is it going to be the exact time of death?
And you examined the body in this case, right?
I did.
On February 1st?
Yes.
And if the time of death is 6:30 on January 30th, if the victim was killed 4 hours earlier, would your analysis of the body be consistent with a 4-hour earlier death?
Objection, speculation. She said she couldn't tell because of the length of time and the refrigeration that she didn't have that type of testing.
All right, sustained, but you can try to lay additional foundation.
We talked about the cooling, putting bodies in coolers and things like that, right?
Correct.
We talked about the decompensation and rigor mortis and the time setting of that, right?
Yes.
right? And I know you're not CSI here. We're not watching a 30-minute show here. So the answer is
Objection to sidebar.
Was that?
Objection to sidebar.
I'm sorry. I would. No, it's
I
my
don't understand
objection.
the objection. You're requesting a sidebar?
No, it's to me, Your Honor. My narration. It's my narration. I strike that. So let me go to the question about decompensation and rigor and so forth, right? When someone's shot and killed and say they died, not the pronouncement, they died, what's the timeline for the jury about what's going on with the human body?
So the three things that we talked about is algor mortis, the cooling of the body after death. That's going to happen right away, instantly, until the body reaches ambient temperature, meaning room temperature, the temperature of the air around it. So typically the body is warm to touch. Most people are warm. And then over a period of time, it's going to get cool. Well, that's dependent on the environment that the body is in, underlying reason for the death. Those sorts of things all impact the algor mortis. Livor mortis is the pooling of the blood. Again, that happens. Typically, you can see it on the skin surface within 30 minutes to a couple of hours. It's going to be evident. At about 12 hours, it becomes what I called fixed, right? Where you push it, it no longer goes away. Prior to that, you're going to push it, it's going to blanch. So about 12 hours, it becomes fixed and it stays fixed. It doesn't ever change. So if I push on a body on the livor mortis lividity on the body and it's fixed, I know that person has been dead at least 12 hours, give or take, right? All these other things play a role, but that's generally speaking what we see. And the last of those is rigor mortis. That's the stiffening of the muscles after death. Usually that's going to set in within an hour or two. After someone dies, you're going to start to notice in the smaller muscles first, they're going to become stiff. So you're going to see it in the jaw, feel it in the jaw and the fingers first, and then it moves into the larger muscle groups. And it becomes firmer over a period of time up until that 10 to 12 hour mark again, when it reaches maximal strength, right? So at 12 hours, the jaw is going to be really firmly closed in that it will take a lot of force to open it. It's going to take a lot of force to break the muscle rigidity in the arms and legs. But that does pass over time. So it reaches its maximal around 12 hours, and then it starts to dissipate. And eventually, as the other decomposition processes start, then it goes away altogether and the body becomes very flaccid. But you'll have also green discoloration of the body, bloating, skin slip. All those things are going to be starting as well as when the rigor mortis is passing, this stuff starts to happen.
So you pretty much have a pretty solid understanding of what happens to a body after death. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
So if someone come across a dead body, a body that's been shot or whatever it is, and hypothetically touch the body, no pulse, but the body is still warm, can you determine within a period of time if the body is still warm when the death happened?
Within a couple of hours, probably. If it hasn't, if it's in it depends on the environment that it's in again.
Sure, just a second, Your Honor. That's all the questions I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any questions for this witness from any of the jurors?
We've got a
right.
baby kitty in here.
We see at least one.
I told my baby girl. How's our baby girl doing this morning? Hey, did you get up? Oh, y'all, look at the new little addition to our family. Yes, can you say hello? I suspect there'll become a day where she'll get up on my desk and crawl up here and go to sleep while I'm doing a live. But in the meantime, she's really coming to life and playing. Hi, did you escape? Did you escape? Oh, look at her, y'all. Isn't she just precious? Mhm. You smell like kitty food you just ate. Your belly full. Oh, 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 look at that face, y'all. Look at the face. Oh, look at the face. I got you. I got you. I got you. See? Let's see if we can do this. See if we can do this.
Hi, y'all. My name is Ellie. I'm only 4 to 5 weeks, maybe 5 weeks old. And I love my new mama and papa. And I look forward to growing up in front of you. Aw, I want to get down and play, so enough said.
There we go, y'all. That's our little mascot. I wondered why the dog ran off so quick. She was out of her little, the kitty was out of her little hole. Matthew, she's in here with me. She is running all over, y'all. She's just checking everything out. Okay, y'all. Well, we'll go back to this. I apologize. Where did I lose my sound? Oh, that's why. They are on their sidebar. I did this with the other feed on mine. So when they go to sidebar, I play this little music. We're gonna do birthdays in a minute. I'm looking up birthdays for today. The allergies have got my voice, and I can probably sing bass today. And I'm looking for a particular part of a live yesterday. That I'm need to I need to that's my other live. I need to skim through a live from yesterday morning because I need to take out a picture.
The jurors can ask questions. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So here's some of their questions. Question number 1, is internal pooling of blood consistent with the body being prone or supine during the time of death?
So the blood that was pooled within the body cavities, the 2 cavities that there was blood was the sac around the heart and in the right chest cavity. There was blood in there because of the gunshot wound injuries. The body, when it arrived to our office and at the time of examination, is going to always be in a supine position until we move it in a different position. And so it shifts with the positioning, but for the most part, once we take custody of the body, it's going to be in a supine position. So it's going to be pooled at the back of those surfaces just because of gravity.
So, I mean, but the question was directed to whether or not you can state an opinion based upon experience, knowledge, and training about whether the pooling of blood has any reflection on whether the body was prone or supine during the time of death. This juror is trying to get more information about whether there's evidence that you can testify to as to whether the body was supine or prone during the time of death. At the time of death. I'm sorry.
I do not know.
Okay, another question, is the internal wound consistent with the bullet tumbling inside the body?
Mm-mm. Through and through.
I don't know. I just know the path that it took.
You should
Another
know.
question, are there any definitive findings with internal organs that show that blood has not moved since cell death in the organs? Parentheses, I'm trying to determine if body organs show the body was prone or supine at the time of cell death or during cell death. And this particular question is directed towards the organs.
Directed towards what?
The organs. So is there any definitive findings with internal organs that show that blood has not moved since cell death in the organs?
After the
Somebody's
heart
got a lot of
stops
medical
beating, the
knowledge
blood
on
is
this.
Not moving anywhere other than when we reposition the body, which again is in that prone position. So the blood is going to be pooled in the organs on the same way that it pools on the skin surface as well.
Couple more questions. In your opinion, and all of these questions is, obviously if you know, or if you have a good basis to know and have foundation to know. If you don't know, that's obviously a fine answer. But the question is, in your opinion, is the path of the entry wound consistent with a shot from long or short range?
I don't know. It's not a contact wound.
Another question, in your opinion, is the entry wound consistent with a straight shot or at an angle?
The bullet takes an upward angle in the body. The trajectory of the bullet in the body is right to left, back to front, and upward within the body.
And that's within the body.
Correct. I do not know outside of that.
All right, very well. Excellent questions. I'll hand the questions to the clerk, and the lawyers can ask follow-up questions to the questions of the jurors. Mr. Jetty.
Real briefly, Dr. Tim, on the movement of the body, you've handled countless autopsies, correct?
Correct.
You've handled from where the body was found at scene and then it's transported to the coroner's office, right?
Yes.
That body has to be picked up, put in a body bag, and shipped, right?
Yes.
A lot of movement goes on, right?
Yes.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Defense? Any additional questions?
In relationship to that same question, I guess if I understood your answer, due to the movement of the body, the blood is moving due to gravity in the position that it's placed in, correct?
Yes.
So it's hard to say how it was closer at time of death.
Correct.
Okay, nothing further.
Any more questions or follow-up questions from any of the jurors for this witness? I see none. Is the witness excused? Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, doctor. You may step down and you're excused.
Okay, that helps a little bit. I kind of have an idea where they're going. So let's do this real quick. Let's do the happy birthdays while we have a moment. These are my Facebook happy birthdays. Ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Monica. Happy birthday, Gretchen, on the big 5-0. Congratulations. Happy birthday, Chris Webb. Happy birthday, Amanda McDonald, Kelly Audrey, Melissa App, Stapleton Fred. Oh my gosh, y'all.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Lynn Herod, Marina Columbus. I can't say their last name, darling. I'll butcher it. And Christy Werner. Thank you guys so much for being friends with me on my Facebook page. And happy birthday. And many more. And please have the best year you've ever had this year. I'm singing bass today because the allergies have not gone away. Happy birthday, y'all. I really hope that your birthday is a fabulous day. And it's kind of on a weekend. It's a Friday. So celebrate all weekend. You deserve it. You deserve it. If you're just hopping on, we're waiting for the courts to open back up for the deliberations for the George Kelly trial. The jury is in deliberation. They have asked questions regarding the doctor that examined the body. She really irritated the snot out of me. This is her on the witness stand. Now, over here are your jurors. Right here is the prosecution. Over here's the defense. The time of death was 6:30. Well, why was it 6:30? Because that's when the Border Patrol or officer said it was. Did you have any tests to perform to confirm that? No. I mean, it was just kind of like she was just so irritated just being there. It was one of those things that I was like, girl, this is your job. And then she had one, I mean, she was really good with the prosecution, not so much the defense. She made them work for every answer. And one of the things they were talking about with her, the medical examiner, was could the body have been dragged? Because there was actual scrape marks on the skin, on the face, the forearms and legs. It wasn't a bruise like it bumped something. It was like it had been dragged, like carpet burned. The backpack, and they showed a picture yesterday, and I am not going to show it. They showed two. They showed the deceased where the gunshot wound is, and you can see the backpack. The bottom of the backpack is literally right at the base of my collar, well over the guy's head. A normal backpack would not fall that way. When you fall, it may ride up on your neck a little bit, but that backpack in the photos was not worn super loose like some of these high school kids do. And then even then, the backpack, it looked like someone had been dragged with, grabbing the hook of the back over the top of the backpack and dragging a body. Even the way the body was positioned. And not only that, the body's hands had dirt and grass in them, like clenched. So if the body's being dragged in the last seconds of life, he's going to be grasping. And he did not live long after the shot because I'm going to put this up because it's going to get a little verbally graphic and I don't want to trigger someone. When you say the bullet goes through the lungs and it severs the aorta, doesn't matter how big, but it does. It's going to take a couple of minutes for the heart to pump enough blood out of of that aorta, and it's going to pull in the chest cavity before the heart stops beating. Then it can take up to 3 minutes or so for the brain to not receive the oxygen. So I'd say 4 minutes-ish before the death actually occurs. As long as he can move his arms in those 4 minutes, he appeared to be grabbing, and he had grass and dirt in his hands. It was not an instant death. And then they were arguing, well, how far could he have taken steps? That depends on the victim, but it would not be long, but he could take a couple of steps. But the witness said he fell on his back. So if he falls on his back and you didn't touch him, how did he get on his stomach with the backpack pulled over his head, partially unzipped, enough to get your hand in and get contents out? And then the fanny pack, which he always had across his body via pictures from the victim's own phone, was ripped because the buckle was broken, but it had snagged on the backpack of a strap, so they couldn't free it, but it was left laying still attached to the strap hooked to the strap of the backpack with the zipper undone, and his radio is laying next to him. He was not an innocent immigrant just trying to cross into the country. He was either a mule and or a coyote scout. That is, and I don't say that to be judgmental. I mean that's what it is. I watched a video. I played a partial video yesterday with YouTube ding me, but it's back on Facebook with Dr. Phil because I did it as an educational piece because the prosecution has trying to has everybody sounding like, oh, everybody's fine. There's no danger living on the border. It's all hunky dory. And in reality, it is far from hunky dory. Far from hunky dory. And so we really, you really got to watch that video. I'm going to try and find it and see if I can tag it. Y'all, I'm kind of suffering this morning. I guess why did that? I'm looking for the video. So anyway, my video with that. But the thing is that on the interview, it was a woman who literally has a ranch land that butts up against the border, just like Mr. Kelly's. And she's in Texas, but it's the same scenario all the way across the border. So she was explaining how many immigrants are coming across a day and what they're doing to her property. They are so bold. I laugh so hard. They're so bold that she has a screened in porch with a refrigerator on it. They went into that screened in porch at 3 a.m. and started drinking the beer. Then they rang the doorbell and asked her for better beer. They didn't ask her for help, nothing. They said, "We don't like your beer. You got anything else?" I was floored. They had another time when her daughter was back in the bedroom and they came home, and the mother and the brother came home, and this is not staying where I want it. There we go. The mother and the brother came home, and when they entered the house, there were two illegals standing in their living room. The daughter had music going in her bedroom and had no idea that there were illegals standing in the living room kitchen of the house. So don't tell me that it is safe. I've got horror stories that I could share with you, but it's too gruesome for this. So just saying, y'all. Just saying, y'all. It is not that safe on the border in any capacity. One of the things they said is true is there are times where it's times of high traffic and low traffic, and it kind of rotates. You start off at the tip of Mexico, you go to the Laredo, you go to the Hidalgo County, then it works its way up to Eagle Pass, then Del Rio, and then it works its way over to New Mexico, then Arizona. See, Arizona has 360, I believe it could be 20, but 300, we'll just split it, 350 miles of border land. And then you have California. Texas has 1,200 miles of borderland. So, but what happens is that when it's flooding, it's like a pipe, and you plug the hole at this end, it's got to go somewhere. So when they crack down, the Border Patrol starts cracking down, say, in Hidalgo County area, then they're going to move either north to El Paso or south to Laredo, or they can plug in I'm sorry, not El Paso. Del Rio. They can plug the hole in Del Rio and they'll move to El Paso. Then they go in more security, more searches. I mean, they just run the borderline and they just hop and scotch. So, um, just because one area has improved for this year does not mean next year it's not going to be the hot spot. Um, it is interesting where I see the wall in Trump built, and then you have what's called the Normandy Blockade, and people can crawl under, they can crawl over it, and then your drug cartel will cut it with the acetylene torch, and then open it up, let vehicles in, and put it back, and then tack it back together. Um, it is so not secure. There are parts of the border where, like the guy being interviewed was the sheriff that was up on this trial. He was being interviewed and he was showing all this, and you never saw an illegal. Well, why would you? You got a guy with a camera videoing somebody, and the illegals are sitting in the brushes watching all this. Do you think they're going to run out while the sheriff is being filmed by a guy with a I think it was just him and the guy. So he was like my camera filming the sheriff. They're gonna go, hey, bueno, hello, come get me. No, you're not gonna see them running live on this video. I'm sorry. I just think sometimes what people think and say on video is stupid. And if they did, then But he did make a true comment that the coyotes have told these people coming across. Once you come across the border and you're by yourself, if you run into anybody that's a border patrol person, throw your hands up, because then they're going to put you in a facility where you're going to get 3 meals a day and all your medical needs met. The kids go to school, and then you can work on your paperwork to get in. Yeah, what a way to live. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Let me look at my notifications. What did she mention me in a comment for? Oh, you are beautiful, Morgan Avery. You're a beautiful woman. But oh, this is cute. I want to share this, but I can't. I don't know how to make this share. It says, "What is the worst name you could possibly give your child?" Apple. How about Apple? Okay. What time is it? Okay, we're close to court time. Let me see if I can find where the live feed is going to be for the trial. It was this one yesterday. Let's see if they're going to have it today. Border Watch News Live. What's a live poll question? They don't have one. I am trying to find the live feed for court for today. See, it hops from news station to news station, and that's my frustration with this. There is one who is actually responsible for the live feed for the duration of trial, but they're only allowed newscasters 2 days each, newscasting company, to be on that live feed. So it's floating around. Drone strikes. Iran fires at apparent Israel attack drones near is from air base. Okay. I appreciate that. I'm looking for live feeds from this Tucson, Arizona. There we go. Live stream. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put, is that Miss Mary? Nope. I'm going to put on some music and I return you guys. Sorry about that, y'all. That's the cost of working inside of a place of business, needing to grab the door when someone shows up. Ah, I really like this music. I am looking for the live feed, y'all. One of these days, I'm going to come in here. Y'all remember Robin Williams? He had a radio show in Vietnam. He come in here, good morning, Vietnam. I mean, screaming at the top of his lungs, and everybody thought, who the hell is that? It was a great movie. I miss Robin Williams. I'm kind of getting in a happy place right now. I woke up this morning feeling, what's the word I'm looking for? Feeling blah. I didn't go to sleep until after 4 this morning, which is not fun. And then woke up a little late. I've had 5 hours sleep. And order watch. So is this going to be where the live is going to be? No. This is the article. But I am on the station. So I have the station up and running. Let me turn down the music. There. I do have the stations up and running, so I am searching and looking. Oh, Paris Hilton testifies in a California state senate with other survivors of the troubled teen industry. Wow. There are a lot of kids, rich kids, that were greatly abused by this one organization. And, I know we think that these kids are privileged and they're snotty and they're hunty and they think they're just the cream of the crop and they don't realize it's mom and daddy's money, not theirs. But after the stories I've heard that Hilton and other people have gone through, oh my gosh, y'all. Horrifying. No child. None. I'm going to get to her testimony. Sorry. You may or may not like her, but do you know what? She is human. Okay, here we go.
Members of the Senate Human Services Committee. Thank you for this opportunity to speak and share my story with you. Today, I stand before you not just as Paris Hilton, but as a survivor and an advocate for the silent voices waiting to be heard. I know firsthand the horrors that happen behind the closed doors of youth residential treatment facilities. As a teenager, I was placed in programs in California and other states where the very people entrusted with my care, my growth, and my healing betrayed that trust in the most devastating ways. I was not allowed to speak freely, to move freely, or even look out a window without permission. I was subjected to cruel and degrading treatment, all in the name of therapy. I lived in constant fear, not knowing what would happen to me next. If I tried to tell my parents about the abuse, the staff would immediately rip the phone from my hand, disconnect the call, and subject me to violent physical restraints and throw me into solitary confinement. And when I close my eyes at night, I still have nightmares about solitary confinement 20 years later, where I'm being dragged down a hallway and shoved into a 4x4 cement cell. One day in seclusion felt like a week. That small room, covered in scratch marks and smeared blood with no bathroom, is one of the most vivid and traumatizing memories that will haunt me for the rest of my life. The sounds of my peers screaming as they were physically restrained by numerous staff members and injected with sedatives will also never leave me. I'm not sharing this story with you today to seek sympathy, but to illuminate the grim realities that seclusion and deadly physical restraints are still happening in facilities. Does this sound like a form of therapy to you? Hundreds of thousands of youth from the child welfare and juvenile justice systems, as well as youth with disabilities, experience this treatment every year. California has made so much progress on this issue, and I'm so proud to be a resident of the state. Given that the state ended the process of sending youth to out-of-state programs due to abuse and deaths occurring, it only makes sense to ensure that facilities in-state are operating with the highest level of transparency and oversight. We must keep California's most vulnerable youth safe, and we must hold these facilities accountable to providing outstanding care. Right now, reports of restraint and seclusion are recorded, but the data is not publicly available. If Senator Grove's office and my nonprofit 1111 Media Impact couldn't get access to vital data about these facilities, can you only imagine how difficult it is for state agencies placing youth in facilities or parents that have had to make the difficult decision to do so? We shouldn't be placing youth in facilities without knowing what these children will be subjected to. The Accountability in Children's Treatment Act is a simple transparency measure that would make a lasting impact and show the world what truly happens behind closed doors. And if the facilities are worried about transparency, then I think that we should ask them what they have to hide. Our current system designed to reform, in some horrific instances, does the exact opposite. It breaks spirits, it instills fear, and it perpetuates a cycle of abuse. But today, we have the power to change that. Today, we can decide to stand up for those who don't have a voice. We must be their advocates, their protectors, and their voices in the halls of power where decisions are made. Please vote yes to SB 1043. Thank you for your attention, your compassion, and your action. Together, we can make sure the horrors of yesterday do not become the realities of tomorrow. Together, we can give these children what they truly deserve: safety, care, and a bright future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hilton, for sharing your story. We're now going to be turning it over to the public for their comments. Any members of the public wishing to address the committee today for support, your name, organization.
I agree. No matter whether you like Paris Hilton or not, what those kids went through was just absolutely horrific. I have seen behind the scene videos and things that have leaked. It's horrible, y'all. Absolutely horrible. Just because one little what's the word I'm looking for? One little girl in one of those videos went to one of the staff because it was that time of the month, and she woke up and her undergarment was soiled, and yeah, she was abused for soiling her undergarment. I'm like, what? That kind of stuff. It's brutal. It's not good. So I'm here trying to find. Come on, court. We're supposed. Okay, he's still on that. Is he live still? I'm watching other people where there's a lot of us waiting for this video. And I guess they haven't started yet. They're notorious for starting late. So, kudos, Paris Hilton. Now, as I've told some of y'all before, I will be doing the Alec Baldwin trial, but that's not due to set until July, but we'll be doing all the motion hearings and everything else. The goat got named yesterday. My little screaming goat. A friend of mine's grandson is a goat fanatic, so we named it Cooper. Cooper the goat. So if you hear me say, don't make me get Cooper. Cooper, it's not you, baby boy. It's the goat. I'm trying so hard. So forgive me if I seem distracted. I am bouncing back and forth trying to find the live feed for this trial, and it's not happening. Let me see if the parent. Oh no, that's previously recorded. I don't want that. Let me refresh. See if it's still previously recorded. Yep, we're gonna refresh. The problem is that I contacted the news company that was providing the lives, and they said that they each you have to have. I couldn't get it even if I wanted to interpret, but they said that different newscasters will take the feed and go live, and then. But the problem is we have to hunt and find it. We have to literally hunt and peck and try and find where it is, and it is so frustrating, absolutely beyond frustrating. So, one of the I'm going to read some questions. Uh, uh, I'm trying to. I'm going to put a little bit of a background on. Sorry. As we hunt for the video, I wish I had a good hunting music, but this may work. Um, I am a single person doing all this. A lot of people actually have moderators and people assisting them. So they can talk and do and interact, and their moderators are doing all the work I'm doing right now, trying to find the lives and whatnot. So unfortunately, this is me having to do it all. And right now I don't see anything. I'm going to go. Well, he didn't have it. They haven't posted it. Dang it. Okay. I was going to go through some of the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. It's just 5 days ago. Nothing. Come on, y'all. George Kelly verdict to be revealed this morning. Has the verdict been reached? Are we waiting? Kelly has pled not guilty to charges in case. Okay, wait. A verdict due imminently. Well, yeah. I think today will be the day, but I want to catch it live, y'all. I'm on a live watch and I can't find it. Oh, anybody who's good at helping with these things, you're hired. You're hired. But I don't know if you can do more than what I'm doing. I don't know if you can do what I'm doing any differently. Oh, how did I get into this? I just have been watching court TV for a long time, and someone asked me what was my first court trial. Who's playing? Okay, so they're on the verdict watch. So will they? are these the people who will have it posted? So I think this is the channel I need to watch. As I said, we're on Verdict Watch, so I'm hoping they'll put it. How did I get into this? I've been watching court as much as I could compared to back in the day. And that court, my first trial that I can remember actually watching was the infamous O.J. Simpson. And, whether you liked O.J. or not, he did have a family. And my hearts go out to them for their loss. But at this time of grief, maybe not. But it's not easy losing a family member. He did have children. He did have grandchildren. He did have other family members. So prayers go out to the family for the loss of O.J. Simpson. I actually watched some of his football footage from high school, college years, and wow, gotta admit that guy was talented. I'm not going to speak ill of the dead. That's all I can say. Oh, y'all, I'm trying. This is a morning. Oh, we do have a poll going. 54% of y'all said that it would be in verdict yesterday. 41% say in verdict today. The rest said not till Monday. Mary, love you, baby girl, but your 59 minutes have been passed. So if you want to win a beautiful, this is my personal one, you want to win a Starbucks tumbler, please, in the comments, put your estimated time of deliberation. The closest person to come without them going over will win. And yes, I will ship at no cost to you. That's a thank you from me to you for watching. This is a difficult trial, but yet I guess I will say one of my takeaways. What is one of my takeaways? My takeaway on this, and it's so frustrating, is the fact that these people are in their 70s. Now, it doesn't matter what age you commit a crime, you do the time. That's not the point. But Mrs. Kelly got on the stand from the get-go and then sat in that courtroom. I know what it's like. I supported a husband who went through a trial. I didn't get to sit in the courtroom. I sat out in the rotunda. But emotionally takes years off of you, y'all. And even if he's acquitted, if he's not acquitted, are they going to still live there? What are they going to do? What I feel for them. It's just one of those things that darned if you do and darned if you don't. And I just cannot, well, I can't imagine because I've been there, but not at their age. Cannot imagine at their age having to sit there and go through this. This is very nerve-wracking right now, but I'll be honest with you, the worst part of this is once you get the word that the jury is back, that is the most nerve-wracking. You want to go to the bathroom and get sick and do everything all at once. In my situation, I was in a restaurant. The jury went to deliberations, and it was exactly lunchtime. So my mother and a friend of mine, a couple friends of mine, and I went to a restaurant just down a couple blocks down from the courthouse, thinking that if the verdict came back, I'd have plenty of time to get there. And mind you, we'd been there for 8-9 days, something like that. And I get a call from my ex-husband saying the jury's in. I was the last person they called. Yeah. And I leave the restaurant. We were paying the bill. One of my friends and I get in my car. I broke every speeding rule. I didn't care if I got a ticket. I broke not aggressively bad, but a few miles over. I parked the car. She stayed with the car to shut it off and everything. And I ran up the steps into this round courthouse. It's a circular building. It's a federal court. And normally you go through metal detectors. Now, mind you, I didn't take keys. I took nothing. And I was like beelining it through the metal detectors, and I didn't go off. They knew. They knew. The cops knew. They'd seen me. I mean, the security knew. They'd seen me coming and going. Nothing beeped, so they just let me run through. And you open the front doors, and then about 10 feet in, there's a second door. It's like a double door. And the courtroom is circular. Well, kind of, it's straight there, and then the back wall kind of circles because everything's in a circle. So everything comes off in a pie, but with a blunt end where the rotunda is. And it was like a scene out of the movies. I open the first door, I grab the second door, and I start to open it. And the judge is facing the jury and he's reading count 1 guilty, count 2 guilty. And I literally just fall to my knees crying and saying the word no. And the news reporter for that day, mind you, I was not a participant. I had no idea my husband had done what he had done, but I had seen no evidence that showed that he was guilty. During the entire trial, I was kind of by his team now that I'm older and wise. Excuse me, I found out by later after reading all the stuff I was not privy to at all during the entire trial. But the newspaper journalist wrote in the newspaper, and it was so true. It was like a light of bolting had hit me. And the instant grief, instant shock, instant because in that moment he died and I was all alone. I had no one but my church family, but I had, my husband was gone and like he'd been killed in a car wreck right there in front of my eyes because it was instant divorce after that. I had no choice with the type of crime he committed. And you don't want to ever believe that the man that you fell in love with and had 2 children with, or the woman. So I discuss actually a lot of this on my jail widow page, and we talk about that a lot. So this is not an easy position for Mrs. Kelly to be in. And here's the other thing. Mrs. Kelly, well, Mr. Kelly and Mrs. Kelly both are going to be getting both ends of the stick where people are going to be believing their innocence or are going to be calling them guilty. There's going to be a lot of bashing, a lot of social media bashing, a lot of, they'll receive some support and they'll receive a lot of negative things. I had, after his conviction, even before his conviction, people called up and threatened to kill me at my place of business, called me all kind of names I won't repeat here. I'm sure they've had that, but ours was in the media, but nowhere to this extent. I think it did make the Nancy Grace for a blip. It went the case went from East Coast to West Coast, but it was just a blurb. It wasn't like this. But I think if we had the cameras in court and stuff like that, like we do now, it would have been far worse. I barely survived what I had to deal with. I could not imagine what Mrs. Kelly having to deal with because when she goes and gets her hair done, everybody's talking about it. Goes to the grocery store, everybody's talking about it. When she goes to get her oil and filter change, everybody's talking about it. So you just kind of go, what? It's very difficult. And you really, you get to the point that you're like, I don't even want to leave the house anymore. And that's where I was. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to um, go anywhere, but I had to. My husband was on house arrest, and Mr. Kelly, even though he's out on bond, has limitations, even at his age. And so more responsibility had pulled up on my shoulders. And I was also raising two very young children. Oh, wait a minute. What did I just click on? Oh, here's a second. Oh, yes, I'm going to subscribe. Okay. One of the gentlemen's I watch is called Recovery Addict. No, not from drugs, but from gambling. He also is a avid metal detector guy. Has a second. It's called Top Mark Media, and he's building that channel. So go and check it out. He's also doing live stuff and streams over there. So I just clicked and subscribed. They're just rewatching some of the testimony on his page. So Miss Kelly has sat in this courtroom for 3 weeks after she testified behind her husband. And Mr. Kelly, I mean, he has been the most calm, non-emotional, non-reactive defendant I've ever seen. He's just like that. Every once in a while, he'll lean over and say something or write something, but he's just taking it in. He's just watching his attorneys do what they do. I got to tell you, especially if these attorneys win, they're stars in my book. You have a more mature attorney. I don't know if she's the lead attorney. I think she is. I would assume so by the age and the experience level. She is fabulous. And if I was anywhere, I mean, obviously she traveled out of state for this. So the attorney that's with her is a younger woman. I would say in her 30s, maybe early 40s, if that. She's so young looking. Hard to tell. I will tell you that she's probably the lead attorney only because the other attorney's out of state. Don't know. But they both have been handling this case and they've been doing a phenomenal job. But that mature attorney, oh snap. If I ever needed to hire somebody and she was one who could work in my state and I could get the funds, she would be the one I want. She knows just how much to push and pull. She knows just sometimes less is more. And I've said this about this case. I find that the prosecution, it's almost 11 o'clock, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. It's a 2-hour window. Where's the feed? Unless they went directly into the rooms and they didn't even turn on a camera feed. But we're still searching. Worst case scenario, I'll have to borrow the there's a new special prosecutor for Alec Baldwin's case. We'll have to go in there. But what I'm saying is I may have to borrow my buddy's feed if I can't find it for the jury verdict. Okay, and they're showing the okay, so that's how he's doing it. Okay. So anyway, back to my story. Mrs. Kelly and Mr. Kelly, I got to tell you, and the attorneys, after this is done and over with, y'all, I think they need to take a vacation and get away from it all. Like I said, I'm frantically looking. That's not what I want. A live stream. It's the same old recorded. But I was 39 when I had to handle all this, and it was overwhelming for a 39-year-old. if I had to handle this in my 50s, I think I'd do a really whole lot better job. Just my maturity level and the knowledge that I have now. Um, but at 75 years of age, oh, you paid your dues to society. You raised kids. You have a good ranch. You've worked hard for it. You're just wanting to live out the rest of your life in your little dream ranch. What brings you peace? And that was the other thing Miss Kelly said, that she could not and was not able to walk her ranch anymore, because when she used to walk her ranch, the never would really run into anybody on the illegals, or they may see them off in a distance, but they kind of stayed away. Well, they have gotten a lot more bold, and they will actually literally come right up to the house. Like the other lady that I watched a video on yesterday said they came on her porch, drank some of her beer and didn't like it, and rang the doorbell and said, "You got anything better?" Um, yeah, they're getting a lot more bold, and that to me is scary. That boldness is scary. Mm. I still cannot find. Okay, I don't want to watch. I don't want this. Ugh. These ads are driving me crazy, y'all. They're clickbait. Border Watch. What does that say? Okay. The jury will consider guilt or innocence of George Allen Kelly as he evasive about shooting and killing a Mexican nationalist rancher, or a man confused by fear who didn't shoot anyone. Guys, I loved what the defense attorney said. I love what they said. If Mr. Kelly had shot somebody and the prosecution had been out there, the Border Patrol, I apologize. Like I said, I'm only running on 4.5 hours sleep, maybe 5 at the most. If the Border Patrol had gone out after the first incident and didn't find a body, didn't find anything, and then he finds a body hours later, his dogs, should I say, found the body hours later. If he actually shot the person, why would he call? Even on a property of his size, bodies disappear very quickly and easily. Sensei, come here. Place. My service dog. Place. You don't like that blanket on there, do you? Okay, Place. Get up there. Place. Good job. I moved the blanket. She didn't like the blanket today. Every once in a while, you'll see her head stick up in the video. Get some loving. So, I mean, why would he call if he had already had the, so I'm eating M&Ms. If he had already had the authorities out there for the alleged shooting where Mrs. Kelly saw a group of illegals running on their property with guns, why would he call back if he was guilty of shooting somebody and report himself? He wouldn't. And if he did, why would he leave all of the shell casings still there? He wouldn't. He's a smart man. He used to lead hunting and fishing guides. He is not dumb and naive in this area. And a man who does hunting very well knows that in the terrain in which he's in, just 1 foot either way can you can lose your hunt, i.e. deer hunting. If you've ever been deer hunting. Yes. You okay? I may have to make a phone call. But if you've ever been deer hunting, you know that you can see a deer, you can't see a deer, and all of a sudden there's a little hole of clearance, and you see the deer, and then it moves, and it's gone at 115 yards away. So in a minute, I'm going to have to make a phone call, but we're on watch. So what I think I'm going to do, there's 2 of you watching right now. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Uh-oh. I dropped. Where did it go, baby girl? I dropped a piece of this and I don't want my dog to eat it. And I have a colored carpet, so I have no idea where it went. You're not nosing it, baby girl. Where did it go? All right, it's so little I can't find it. So I think what I'm going to do, y'all, is I'm going to put on the live feed for the sheriff. I'm going to put the sheriff on because I want you to watch this one. The sheriff's interview is very interesting. He was very boastful and prideful on the interview that I watched of him, which we've already shown here the other day. Don't want to do it more than once because I don't want to get tagged for copyright infringement if there is one. But we have a body language shift. Watch it in the way he talks. Watch how he's talking when he's confident and when he's not. It's a very telltale. So I'm going to put this on. This is yesterday.
We discussed that motion,
April
and
yesterday.
that's essentially what your ruling was that I was allowed to ask the sheriff questions, and we would see what came up at trial.
All right, fair enough. I just want to get that out on the table so we didn't let something like that fall through the cracks. All right, if there's nothing else, then we can bring in the jury. Thanks. Please rise. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. The record will show the presence of all the jurors, counsel, and the defendant, and we can have the witness retake the witness stand, please.
I went to go grab him.
Morning, sir. Will you take the witness stand? Thank you. All right, the witness is back on the stand. I always inform every witness who's had a break over the evening that you're still under oath. Okay, very well. And you can continue with your cross-examination, Ms. Larkin.
So I want to talk some about this interview that you did with Daniel in Mexico. Prior to meeting with him, can you summarize the background information that you had about this case?
There's probably a lot of things more than I can summarize, but that there was a killing on January 30th of 2023 in the Keno Springs area on a property that pertained to an individual named George Kelly, and that evidence had been collected at the scene. Shell casings and a body had been recovered at the scene. I was informed about various 911 phone calls, various other communications with Border Patrol, with Ranch Liaison Officer. I could be missing some things, but that's it in a nutshell.
Did you know where the body was located in relationship to the house?
No, I do not.
Did you know where the house was located in relationship to the border wall?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Did you know about other witness statements before you met with Daniel?
I had heard some things. The summary of the 911 calls.
Had you reviewed a statement provided by a person calling himself Miguel?
I don't recall that.
Had you reviewed a statement provided by a person named Ramon?
No, I had heard about Ramon, but I didn't review a statement.
So you weren't aware of what either of those people had said?
That's correct.
And we talked yesterday about some of the ways that you test the credibility of a witness, right? And what you said one of those ways was comparing a witness statement to other witness statements, right? And another way was comparing a witness statement to the physical evidence, right?
That's correct.
Without knowing the content of those statements and without knowing the facts on the ground in this case, how were you planning to test Daniel's credibility?
I know probably as one individual more than anyone else in the sheriff's office about the overall aspects of this case, since I am the sheriff and I was briefed continually on it. I did not go to the crime scene, but I can test, for example, that Daniel said that an AK-47 was fired. He recognized the sound, and I know that an AK-47 was recovered and shell casings from an AK-47. So that's one example of testing the, what he said. Another example was a horse, a reddish colored horse that he said saved his life, that was running next to him when the shooter was on the opposite side of the horse shooting at him. So there was a horse.
So I don't want to get into what he said to you specifically, but I just want to understand what you had available with you to test his statement. You know some facts about the case, but you don't know where the property is. You don't know where the body was located, right?
I know where the property is. You know, I didn't go there, but I know generally where it is.
You don't know where it is in relation to the border wall?
Generally.
Okay. You don't know what position the body was found in when he died, right?
That's correct.
You know that a horse was not shot during this incident, right?
That's what I was told, that a horse was not found shot.
Okay. Another way to test a witness's credibility is to provide photo lineups, for example, right?
That would be correct, yes.
And to see if they can make an identification, right?
Yes.
So one way that Daniel's credibility could have been tested would be to provide a photo lineup, including Mr. Kelly's photo and other photos of other people who look like him, right?
Well, on the date that Daniel showed up, which we didn't know if anyone was going to show up or the name of the individual, we didn't know the nature of the beast. We didn't know what we had on our hands. So we were doing this in Mexico. We didn't have every investigative avenue available to us, nor did we know what would come up in his statement that we would need to compare with.
So you weren't prepared to even try to get him to identify somebody?
We were prepared. We did ask about the individual that was doing the shooting.
Did you bring any photographs?
We need to let the witness answer the questions, please.
Can you repeat the question? I can't remember what it was.
Did you bring any photographs with you to try to let this witness make an identification
No,
on
not that I
photographs?
recall.
You had photographs of this other witness, Ramon, correct?
I don't know. One of the detectives may have had photographs of him.
Did you bring any photographs of Ramon to try to do a lineup of Ramon with this witness, Daniel?
No, I did not.
That would be one way to test his credibility, right?
That would be discussing one aspect of a thing that didn't directly involve the shooting. Was Ramon was not alleged to be at the shooting. Only two individuals, Gabriel and Daniel.
You didn't believe Ramon was alleged to be at the shooting?
Not from what Daniel said. He said there were two individuals. The group scattered at Duquesne Road. Two ran back to the border, which was Gabriel and Daniel.
So, and you hadn't reviewed Ramon's statement. I understand that. Detective Barba had interviewed Ramon, right?
I think that's correct, but I don't remember for sure.
Were you aware that Ramon was also claiming he was at the scene of the shooting? He was there.
I was aware that he was alleged to be part of the initial group of 7 migrants that came in going towards Duquesne Road, which was referred as the road to Washington Camp or Mount Washington. And then when they saw a Border Patrol vehicle, they scattered, and only the 2 individuals were on the area where the shooting happened on the return. That's what I'm aware of.
And you're aware of that because Daniel told you that. Is that where that came from?
Well, that would be one way that I was aware of that.
What was the other way you were aware of that?
I don't know.
That's just
Yeah,
what
the others.
Daniel told you, probably.
That's what
right?
Daniel told us.
Okay. So if I told you that Ramon said he was there and he saw this shooting and he was with a whole group and the whole group was present when this shooting happened, that was his statement. That would be something that you would try to compare to Daniel's statement to test his credibility, right?
I'm not aware of what Ramon said.
If you're going to test a witness's credibility by comparing his statement to somebody else's statement, you should probably be aware of the other person's statement. Shouldn't you?
If a person had the mechanism to do that, I didn't know what I was going to encounter in Mexico on February 15th. An individual did show up. I didn't know who they were going to be or what they were going to say. So I documented what they said.
And you didn't do anything to test his statement against other statements that had been put forward in this case, did you?
I know the detectives were working on this case, and I'm aware that they did that type of thing, pursuing many different avenues beyond what I pursued. So they were doing those kind of things, comparisons.
Which detective did that?
I don't know.
Did you ever review a report from any detective that compared these witness statements to each other?
I don't recall reviewing a report that did that particular thing.
Is it possible that nobody did that?
I don't know. I didn't review all the reports in the case.
During this interview with Daniel, we know this other witness, Ramon. He was out there before. Do you recall Detective Barba providing his name to Daniel?
I do recall Detective Barba providing his name to Daniel. Yes.
And a better way to test Daniel's credibility would be to ask Daniel who else was with you. Wouldn't that be a better way to do that?
I do know that he did describe there was a group of 7. They were scared when they got to Duquesne Road and saw a Border Patrol vehicle, and then 2 of them ran back. So I know he did a description of who was there. It was a group of 7 originally, and then it was weaned down to a group of 2 after everybody scattered.
So that wasn't my question. My question was to test Daniel's credibility. If you have another witness who says he was there, rather than providing that witness's name to Daniel and saying, do you know this guy? A better way to test his credibility would be to ask Daniel, did you know anybody else in the group? And if so, what were their names? Would that be a better way to approach this interview?
I don't know. That's Detective Barba was aware of the name Ramon, so he did ask about that name. And I don't know if there was better ways to do that.
It's pretty suggestive to just provide another person's name to a witness in an interview, right?
Well, that was a piece of the case that Detective Barba was aware of. And so he asked that question. And I don't know if there would have been a better way to do that.
My question was, is that suggestive?
He's already answered that question. He said he doesn't know. So that's the answer.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Did you later, so after you did this interview with Daniel, did you record a portion of this interview?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that. What did you not record? What did you record and why?
I would say the whole encounter was possibly, this is an estimate, 45 minutes to an hour. I think that video recording was 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So it was a summary, just a thought I had at the end of the interview. If something happened to this witness, if he disappeared, if he wound up getting killed, I wanted to have something other than my word and Detective Barba's word that we had actually talked to the witness. So it was a summary of the events of that day. And I'm sure there were things covered in the overall interview that wasn't recorded that are not captured in that video interview.
So you spoke with him for a while and then recorded this 6-minute portion after you had substantially finished the interview.
That's correct. Before departing, just wanted to create evidence that this encounter had happened.
Why didn't you record the whole thing?
Didn't think of it until we were at the end.
You didn't think of recording a witness interview?
I didn't think of that. I think most witness interviews on the street are not recorded or not video recorded, but I did just think the nature of this individual, he didn't have legal documents to come into the US. You know, just thought, is there a possibility I'll never see this witness again? Maybe it would be good to do a summary, a little video summary to show that we had actually met with an individual.
It's standard practice to record witness interviews, right?
Not necessarily in my career. Most witness interviews are not recorded.
When you pre-arrange a witness interview and you have time to plan to do the interview, is it best practice to plan to record that interview?
This was an ad hoc situation where somebody may show up. Juan Carlos Rodriguez said he would try to arrange an encounter with this individual. I grabbed a detective. I went to the location to see if anybody would show up. And we weren't at our office. We didn't have the full range of equipment that we would have at the office. We didn't have like a forensic team with us. It was just me and Detective Barba. And we just did the best we could in Mexico, just doing an interview with this witness that did show up.
You had your phone with you.
That's correct.
And you used it to record a portion of the interview.
That's correct.
Why didn't you just use it to record the whole thing?
I didn't think about it.
Who is Big Super?
He has a YouTube channel.
Is this a person that you talked to about this case?
I talked to
Objection,
him.
Your Honor. Relevance.
All right. This is something new, so let's have a bench conference.
You would expect an area to have damage. I mean, it would be a wide area, but 9 shots. You would
Yes.
expect that there would be some other objects that were struck if all of those were sprayed. I'm saying in my head, if he was shooting high and it was kicking, I'm saying there's a possibility in my head that one of those went low, as opposed where it would be an accidental, or in this case, self-defense, because he's got armed men that shot on his property, and, and it's
but possible is still reasonable doubt.
yeah. So, but reasonable doubt for sure, all day long.
Yeah, I mean, this case is littered with it if there was ever a case for reasonable doubt.
I know you mentioned
think-
that there may be some interest in the defense speaking with us. That would be awesome. That would be great.
Absolutely,
I have not reached out.
Yes.
I don't like reaching out to defense during a trial. Obviously, they've
Well,
got their
I'll have
hands
them
full.
call in. I don't know if she'll want to wait till a verdict or, but I will. She knows. So, yeah, I'll get one of the attorneys on the phone with you.
Okay.
For
We'll
sure.
wait till it's all over. I'm perfectly fine waiting until everything's done. Hopefully, we can
Yes,
celebrate
it might
together.
be safer.
But so
Yeah.
let's see. We've
Yeah,
got a
we're
couple.
hoping so. And go ahead. Yeah.
A couple more questions.
Sorry, did I interrupt you with Vicky's question? Go ahead.
I think you answered Vicky's.
Okay.
I think so. Let's see. Was she there on the day the judge flipped out? Okay. When the judge walked out of court, were you there for that part?
I did not get in the courtroom in time for that. I was so bummed, but I did catch it on the stream.
He seems to have changed since then, and we haven't seen anything on like on the air of why he would change. But it seems like either he talked to somebody or he thought it over and thought better of the approach he was taking. And since that day, it's been. He might have watched the video. He might have watched. It did sort of go viral for a bit, and a lot of people were commenting on it.
Sure did. Yeah, I did ask Wanda right after that. I said, "What happened with the judge?" She says, "I don't know. I think somebody licked all the red off his candy." It was so precious.
Nosy Rosie says, "Does the defense watch RA and chat? Do you know if they've got somebody on their team watching commentary?"
So yeah, I let Kathy know about your stream and how beneficial it is. So yes.
Wonderful.
Kathy was reading your live chat during during all of closing arguments yesterday. She had it up on her phone. So
that's cool.
So she got to see some of your comments.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. So they might have seen the thumbnails. Steve. Steve helped us with the thumbnail. The thumbnails. You know what a thumbnail is.
Thumbnail, yeah, right.
It probably is not very beneficial, Steve, and I'm just saying it's probably not very beneficial to the defense team to get the thumbnail.
I
But
know,
it
right?
helps
The
us
thumbnails.
understand what
I do
happens.
have somewhere in my pages of notes, I do have a suggestion on it, but I can't remember. I've been here so long, and I apologize. I've been wanting to call in for so long, but I think with the time difference, you end the stream before I can get outside of the court.
I just need to buck up and wait around till you're ready. That's what I need to do. So
yeah, we should have just had maybe set a time because I had a lot of comments. So.
I'll do that, especially if there's a verdict. I'll stay on until you're able to call after the verdict, if that works.
Sounds great. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? If I may, I'm going to do a little plug real quick for the Kellys.
Yeah.
They do have a Give, Send, Go account for the Kellys.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that out there. The legal bills pile up.
If I remember correctly, they were using crowdfunding to pay for their legal. I mean, that's before the case started. Before trial started. That's something they were doing because it's not cheap. A court case like this.
No, it's really not.
It is spending.
I don't know how they'll be able to afford a mistrial.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do have an account on Give, Send, Go. So it was important for me to send that up there.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
I appreciate that. Laura, you do an amazing job. You're a fantastic court watcher. I appreciate all that. Obviously, we'll keep you, if call whatever you get any information. You're seeing stuff that we're not because the live stream is not going right now. And we're sort of just waiting, watching the timer. They've been deliberating for, over 2.5 hours roughly.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of time on your hands. So you might spend the time looking up, is it Big Super's YouTube video on Sheriff Hathaway?
He will not allow anyone to use that video. He's striking people who try to use it, even news agencies that try to use it. So I can't show it directly. I can send a link to it, but that's Big Super in Arizona or something like that. Life in Arizona.
Big Super had Sheriff Hathaway. You're right. Yep. And then he was not friendly to the Border Patrol in that one. So I think about maybe 14, 15 minutes in is when he starts talking about Mr. Kelly. So anyway, I didn't realize he wouldn't let you rewatch it.
Yeah, you have to be careful with stuff like that. But yeah, great,
that makes sense.
Interesting stuff, and it was funny to see it come up in court. So that was the longest sidebar of the entire trial was about that.
It was really, yeah. I noticed that. That was a big one. Yeah, I mean, I have about 30 pages of notes, so I can always fill in and call in later.
Awesome. Laura, thank you very much. I'll let you go back to watching and obviously call as soon as you get any information. That would be wonderful. One other thing, I think we've got Jessica is going to call in here in a bit. We're gonna finish watching the judge storming out of court clip. We've got probably 10 minutes or so left on that. And then I think Jessica's going to try to give us a call. She's actually worked for Border Patrol, has some information about some of the cameras and stuff down there in that area. And we're going to get some background from her. So Laura, thank you so much.
And let me know if you have any questions. Absolutely.
Appreciate it. We'll see you.
Okay. Bye guys.
Laura's amazing. I appreciate what she's doing. Let's see. Let's go back and finish. Let's see. Manhunt going on in Florida. I'm getting some texts about a manhunt in Florida. Let me listen. Florida might be something we can jump to. So let me try to do some digging.
Moments caught on camera leading to an all-out manhunt tonight.
You need to do something now because I don't know what's going on.
This shocking video showing a violent confrontation near Orlando, Florida, and possibly a young woman's final moments. Someone wearing a black hoodie and a mask, armed with an automatic handgun, filmed pointing it at a driver inside a white Durango at this intersection. The suspect then jumping into the back seat.
Poor guy's been held up by some guy with a handgun.
Police believe the person driving that white
sorry, no, I did all that without talking.
Catherine Aguas Vivas, a recent U.S. citizen from the Dominican Republic. A short time after that first call, police get another about a car badly burned with a body inside 30 miles away.
You're not showing what I thought you just showed.
We believe that to be the vehicle and the decedent to be Catherine.
Police now believe this was a targeted attack. Shortly before this video was taken, Catherine called her husband to report a green Acura was ramming into her back bumper.
Why did she and her husband not call 911? I don't know. Why did she stop at the red light? I mean, there's a lot of things that we'll absolutely never know.
Tonight, the suspects are on the run, with police calling witnesses who have come forward so far heroes.
The people who are following behind this, witnessing this, are absolute heroes with providing critical information of a very dangerous and frightening situation.
Marisa, what's the latest on the investigation tonight?
Well, Jose, the charred remains of this car found just down the dirt road behind me. The question tonight is, why was she driving more than 200 miles away from her home, and what was the motive to target her? Police still searching for those answers and those suspects. Jose?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
I'm sorry about
An
that.
urgent manhunt this morning for two people wanted for a deadly carjacking. Masked men kidnapping a woman during daylight hours in the middle of an intersection. ABC's M. Nguyen with the latest from police who say this wasn't a random crime. And M, that video is unbelievable.
Truly unbelievable. Janae can't wait to show you this video. Now, investigators say this is kind of a bizarre murder mystery in which they say there are still some outstanding, unusual circumstances.
This morning, new video shows a brazen armed carjacking involving who authorities say is a South Florida woman at a traffic light stop.
It is incredibly frightening to watch the boldness of this suspect.
Cell phone video capturing the moment a hooded masked gunman points his firearm directly at the driver in front of this green Acura before then climbing into the car, a white Durango. And now an urgent manhunt is underway in Florida for at least two suspects in connection with this crime.
The guy had a machine gun and got the guy to open the door and was pointing the gun at him, and then he got in the back seat of the car.
Authorities say they believe the woman held at gunpoint. 31-year-old Catherine Altagracia Guerrero de Aguas Villas was killed shortly after the incident. The Seminole County Sheriff said she had traveled up from Homestead, Florida earlier that day and stopped at a gas station for 8 minutes before noticing the car was following her.
There is no explanation why somebody would target her, why she would be followed like that.
Investigators say a body was then later found charred inside a burning vehicle believed to be that white Durango. It was located some 30 miles away from the carjacking in Osceola County, according to law enforcement.
And many questions still remain, including how the victim was said to be visiting.
Oh, my Lord, y'all. Y'all, that is... Okay, first of all, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Recovery Addict for confirming the channel that the verdict would be on. I greatly appreciate it. I am watching it. I just want to make sure that it didn't bounce somewhere else. With that story we just saw, I'm going to give you a story, and that story is that I'm going to mute that. A while back, gosh, a couple years ago at least, I live in a small town called Kerrville, which is just outside of San Antonio, about an hour. I lived in San Antonio for like 10, 15, let's see. I got there in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. About 10 years at least growing up. And so a couple years ago, I went back to San Antonio, and the highway system in San Antonio, you've got circles and lines. So you got Loop 410's the inner circle. Then you got Loop 1604 is the outer circle. Then you have 281 that splits kind of down the middle. I-35 on this side. So I was on 1604 heading west, going to take 281 south to get to a restaurant. And there's a big flyaways, big traffic in San Antonio, big highways. And I noticed that I'm here with the watch. The other guy's here. This guy came up, and got in front of me and really slowed down. Now, I'm in the middle lane. So then I get in the fast lane and catch up and then get back in the middle lane. Then he comes back around again, and then this, and then this. I knew after the second time, honey, we had a problem. And so I decided to try to get off. Well, I had to. So I took the flyaway, and on a flyaway, it's only 2 lanes. This guy got right on my bumper, and all I could see was windshield. I couldn't see the hood of the car. I couldn't see the lights. He comes around me and tries to stop. Well, I was ready for it. So I already started braking when he started to go around me. And actually, here's me, here's him. He did this, and I did that. So I got in the right-hand side. I exited. The restaurant was on the opposite side, so I had to loop around to get to the restaurant. So you exit the flyaway, you come on the highway, and then you take the first exit. It's almost like a flyaway. You come down. As soon as you get on the main level, you exit and then come underneath the highway. Long story short was when I took the exit, I did not put on my blinker until I got right to the light to go take the turnaround. So he couldn't follow me. Well, when you take a turnaround, there's a concrete sidewalk type thing between you and the oncoming traffic. And so he decided he wasn't happy with me. So he turned into the oncoming traffic lane, jumped over the curb, and blocked me and stopped in the middle of the turnaround. When he did that, he got out of his car and he's screaming. I'm not trying to be stereotypical, y'all. I'm really not, but it is the fact of the matter. Big black man. And he's screaming. He's coming up to my car. Now, mind you, I have a badge that says Volunteer Emergency Services Chaplain on it. I have my pistoli on me. I'm a licensed carrier. I pulled my gun and I have it pointing down like this, like you're supposed to, as he's coming towards me. Now, mind you, traffic is backing up. Unbeknownst to me, a couple cars back is a off-duty police officer watching this go down, just like these people videoed it. I have my gun, and he comes up, and he starts to bang on the window, and I pulled the badge, and I went like this, and he ran off. The undercover cop chased him, and he didn't even get through the intersection, and he was down. Thank God for that cop. You know who you are. It's been a long time, but if you're ever watching this, which would be a 1 in a million crapshoot, thank you very much. But I mean to tell you, it rattled me. I've never had to pull a weapon before, and I was very scared. And they said that I had every right to pull a weapon, and if anything happened, I would have been in my right place to discharge weapon. The guy did end up having a weapon on him. It was not a gun, but he was a part of a group that was definitely pulling people over and carjacking. So I was very lucky that day. I didn't have children with me, although they were grown. I didn't have anybody with me. So that was a very scary experience. Very scary experience. Oh my gosh, what are you redoing? Are you resetting all your stuff? I need to figure out how to connect this computer to this computer. What are you doing? I need to connect. Let me do this so I can hear. So for me, that was a huge, huge deal. Very traumatic and took a while to get over that. Every time I go anywhere near that intersection, I still recall that incident every single time. And it's not fun. But thank God that I was not harmed. But I was prepared to discharge if I needed. Was so prepared to discharge. Um, you do what you got to do to protect yourself. Um, it's not what I want. So let's look and see what other court cases and news that's going on. Oh, what? What is this? Where's the volume on this? Oh, I hate it when you get these dang video play after your ads. Present, share screen, college, share.
Clock is ticking after a 72-hour extension to hold this person of interest ending tomorrow. Our Bill Miston joins us to catch us up on the speed of where the story is going and how we got here. Bill?
Yeah, hey there, guys. It was last week that a severed leg was found in Cudahy, and 2 days later, investigators searched a South Side home, and a man has been arrested. And the sheriff's office says that that is part of a homicide investigation. Investigators worked late into the night last Thursday. Flashlights illuminated the inside of a South Side home. Investigators showed up hours earlier and arrested 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson. Anderson owns the home near 39th and Oklahoma. The sheriff's office says Anderson's a person of interest in the case, a homicide investigation. Earlier this week, prosecutors were granted a 72-hour extension to hold Anderson without charging him.
We'll see it happen too often. The system likes to get these cases reviewed and decided upon quickly, but in this situation, when facts are literally developing from day to day, I think it was a fair ask.
That investigation began on April 2nd after a severed leg was found along Lake Michigan near Warnemont Park. Human remains were found at 3 other scenes in less than a week in Milwaukee County.
Poor baby.
But investigators have been tight-lipped and haven't said if it's connected.
What you're trying to do, the prosecutor, is find some kind of evidence that is going to link the person of interest back to either the crime scene, the victim, or an object that's associated with the crime. And so this extra window gives them time to try to make those links.
We know family of a missing woman, Sadie Robinson, tell Fox 6 they were invited to attend that court hearing. But investigators haven't said if her case is connected. That 72-hour extension ends Friday morning.
Oh, y'all. How horrible. That is so horrible, y'all. God, there's so much bad out there now. There's just so much out there. Come on, jury deliberations. Come on, y'all. Come on. We're waiting for you. Trying to see if they have a live feed. Let me refresh this whole page. Sometimes that helps. Breaking news and sports. There we go. We are still waiting for that. The deliberation time right now has been 2 hours and 44 minutes. That's not very long, y'all. So they did ask to speak to other information. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the ladies' room, refresh my coffee, and I shall return. Hello, I'm back. Yes, you heard me in the background talking. My baby girl has multiple dog beds in the shop, and she just didn't want to really. Well, had thin one in here, and she's kind of bony hip. I mean, she's very healthy weight, but some of us, even as big as I am, have a bony hip. So I pulled in a more plush bed for my baby girl. She stays under my desk. And I decided to make myself some oatmeal. A not so great tasting, healthy kind. Okay. We're coming up on 3 hours. So now I'm going to start. I'm going to start looking for some stuff for us to watch. That's a part of being on. That's what I need to do, y'all. I forgot to do it. There is so much to do. Oops, didn't mean to do that. There's so much to remember to do when you do a live. And it is very hard to get it all done. And I have to go through and edit video and download my thumbnail and check boxes, and it's not fun. I take it back. It's fun. I love it. It's great. I don't have a mod crew. Mod crew is moderators and people that go into the background and take care of all this for me. All I have to do is add thumbnail and it gets done. I have to do it all myself, which I'm blessed to do. This is not that great. I'm trying to eat healthy, y'all. Trying. So let me go back and look at my live channel now and see what it looks like. Yay, there it is. I have learned so much through this process. The only thing is it doesn't pop up on the feed. You have to look for me. I love someone said, thief steals car on camera shouting at the owner to not come out of the home. Dude, the caption is right. Don't lose your life for a car. Don't. Car is not worth it. I had one of you wanted me to show you some things about Native American. Might as well do it now. So let me get to where I can share screen. I guess it's this one. Yeah. This is awesome. This is a jingle dancer. And where is volume? Oh, there's no volume. Why is there no volume? My volume's turned up. Those are jingle dancers, and those dresses there's a story behind those dresses. Let me see if I can find a real actual video, a native powwow. Powwow 2024. Is this grand entry? Okay, let's do grand entry. Okay, it can be native drumming is very loud. I'll explain things as they go. Let's get going. Okay, the gentleman walking in here is the head dancer. Behind him, of course, you have the American flag. Native Americans are very, very supportive of their country. Get this down just there we go. Native Americans are very, very patriotic people. A lot of Native Americans served in wars, especially World War I, World War II, Korean War. They had the Navajo talkers. There's a lot of videos about how war was won when Native American Navajos created a language that they can speak to each other on. And China, nobody could understand them. They never broke the code. Code talkers, I think. There is the eagle stick. And these are our head dancers here. The things on top of their head that are real thin porcupine or deer tail that flare out are called the roach. A roach. The headdresses that are worn here, those feathers are earned. That's not something you just go and buy. The feathers are earned, usually by warriors. Here are the young kids. Oh my gosh, you have a little girl here in the jingle dress. You have the fancy dance little boy. The skirt, this lady here in the, oh, let me do this. Hello. The skirt, this is traditional women's. The purple is like a tray cloth. See the blue with the shells, the buffalo teeth on it? I have one like that. I made myself. This is a fancy dance male. Each step does mean something. It is not random. It is very specific. A lot of the dances tell stories, okay, of hunts and life events. A lot of this stuff you see, you think is solid, but it's just material. It is beadwork, y'all. It is not a costume. It is a regalia. This is an older gentleman. Oh, I love his traditional. The fans on the back are called a bustle. These are very, very expensive. We're talking this one right here, over $10,000 to purchase. By the way, you saw that person taking a photo. You do not take photos up close without asking permission. They are dancing in a circle. That is the sacred circle. You do not go into that circle just whenever you want. This is grand entry. So these are all your competitors. Look at this traditional. Oh, I love his. A lot. There are real eagle feathers here. However, owning an eagle feather is illegal unless you are card carrying, or I hate to say that, but you're Native American and you have special permission from the government. You cannot just go pick up eagle feathers and throw them in your regalia. The other way you can get it is if it's handed down generation to generation, which a lot of this stuff is. This is a ribbon shirt right here. You see the ribbons. You'll see ribbon skirts on the women. That's a very, very, I can't eat this stuff, y'all. It's healthy, but no, not eating it. Native Americans are very big in bringing in their families into the circle and carrying on the tradition. The dancer's getting real low here. He's searching. He's seeking. Like when you're hunting, you get real down and you crouch. These are breastplates. These are bear claws on this guy's necklace. You see the women's traditional. This is a shawl back here. You see the fringe hanging. In order to go in circle, if you're not in full regalia, you must have a shawl. Look at the little one. Oh my gosh, I love the little ones. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth. They still have their... I absolutely love powwow. One of these days I may put on my regalia and let y'all see it. Look at the little ones. Oh my gosh, she's in a little jingle dress. The jingle dress are usually one of the favorite dresses for the girls. The tradition, the story, I mean, it kind of changes a little bit, but basically a little girl was sick, very sick, and the father, I believe, some say grandfather, had a dream. And he had a dream multiple nights in a row. I'm being very loose with this. And there was women wearing a specific dress. That's going to make me sick. A specific dress, and it had these little things hanging on it. And see how this little girl down here is jumping around and dancing? Not jumping around, but she's dancing. As they bounce and dance, the metal cone things hanging from the dress jingle. It sounds like rain. So they brought the girl into the circle. Well, he told his wife. The wife and the other women made the dress, put it on the girl. They did. Long story short, They were at a powwow before the elders. They showed them that they had showed the father the dance, showed the elders, and then I'll have to pull it up and read it. Let me do that. It's so much easier. So I'm going to read it. Let me find the story. The documentary of the jingle dress. Let's see if it has the video. I think it does. This documentary. Come on, where's the story? Okay, here we go. I'm going to pause.
You're supposed to make the sound of rain when you dance. It's also a healing dress.
One thing I've always done was dance for the ones that can't, dance for the elders that can't.
Well, that was quick and short. Let me go back to grand entry while we're doing this. We'll go back to the grand entry. I'll find a better story. The story behind it. Let's see if that works. Is there a video? Oh God, no. We're gonna pause this. I want you to see this. This is amazing. Okay. Share this screen instead. Get rid of all this stuff. Connect. Okay, here we go. Get me back in a decent position. The jingle dress, the story behind a Native American dance and the power of the spiritual healing. When in the United States was hit with the influenza pandemic in 1918, the women of the Ojibwe tribe, I guess, practiced a healing ritual called as the jingle dress dance. It is characterized by the tinkling sound made by the silver cones that adorn the dress each time the dancer moves. Now, 1 century later, during the COVID pandemic devastating the Native American communities, the Navajo photographer and his daughters have taken the jingle dress tradition on a journey through the country to bring spiritual healing to the land and raise awareness about the marginalization of indigenous communities. It kind of sounds like rain on top of the tin, said Sunny Begay as one of the jingle dress dancers. The dance is like a prayer, so the sound carries to the heavens. Look how exquisitely beautiful these dresses are. Very colorful, but these little cones here were originally made from skull. The dip cans, they took the skull lid and they folded it and wrapped it around a piece of material and sewed it. So as they moved, it would move around. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit the United States in the spring of 2020, Eugene Tapahe, the land's photographer from the Navajo Reservation in Wind Rock, Arizona, was out of work. I was worried about how I was going to make money and how I was going to make ends meet, he said. And 3 weeks of the initial quarantine, it became clear the pandemic was here to stay, and it hit Navajo Nation very hard. Tapahi's aunt, who lived in the home of the Navajo reservation, died of COVID-19. And for Tahapahe, that's when the pandemic really hit home. Look how gorgeous, y'all. I want to go to these places. They're on the Monument Valley Navajo Traditional Park. A few days after burying the aunt, Tahapahe said he was feeling increasingly despondent when he had a dream where he was sitting in the Yellowstone National Park a place that always had been a refuge for his family, and heard the sounds of the Native American healing dance. I'm checking just to make sure we are not okay. We're 3 hours and 6 minutes in. Okay. I was watching the bison as they were grazing upon the grass, and the sun was setting, he said, and it's when I saw a jingle dress dancer coming into the grass. He said it really made me feel calm and peaceful, and then it made me feel like there was hope. Tahapahe and said he was inspired to launch a photography project that took spiritual healing powers of the jingle dance dressers across the country. He recruited four jingle dress dancers for the project, his daughter, Erin, and Dion, along with the family's friend, Sunny and Joanne Bigay. Look at oh, wow. Stunning. I need to go take a vacation over in that area. All of the photos have been taken in places in nature where the site was a popular landmark in the U.S. national parks, from Minnesota to California. Tahape, Tapahe, oh, Tepehe, I think it's Tahape, said that he chose to use natural light to capture the photos of the young women dancing in position in their jingle dresses at these locations. The Tapaz, I'm getting tongue tied now. And the Bigays are members of the Navajo tribe in North American India. Were based in Arizona, New Mexico, Utah. But the jingle dress originated as a tradition in the Ojibwe tribe. I'm really not doing good. I'm dyslexic legally. Brenda Charles is a historian at the University of Minnesota who teaches the American Indian Studies, the Red Lake Ojibwe, and the granddaughter of a jingle dress dancer. She studied the origins of the jingle dress, which was celebrated in 2019 exhibit at the university to mark the 100th anniversary, and how it became connected to the modern day activism. Child told ABC News that the modern tradition first started in the aftermath of influenza pandemic in 1918, when a new healing movement emerged in the community. Look how gorgeous, y'all. That's a lot of work going in there. They used to bend these each individual tin lid from the skull dip themselves, but luckily now they come machine done. Okay, is he not live anymore? Let me go back. I need to find him. Recovery addict. Yeah, there he is. Is he done being live? Okay, we'll go on to about that. The story of the first jingle dress dancer is told in Canada as well as Minnesota. That it is about a little girl who was healed by the twinkling sound of the metal cones that were sewn into the jingle dress, the child said. And it was very much about healing the mind and healing the spirit. The dancers for the current project told ABC that they met in a dance group at Brigham Young University, Salt Lake City, Utah, and they were wearing unique jingle dresses. The dance is like a prayer, so the sound kind of carries into heaven. It's a form of worship. Over the decades, the women spread the jingle dress tradition to other Native American communities. And it became a flourishing tradition adopted by many tribes. The first photo shoot of the project was Bonneville Salt Flats in northwestern Utah. And from then on, Tapahe said the group took the jingle dress dance to a national and state park around the country, from Minnesota to California, capturing this series. Really felt like there were lands that were colonized first. Look at that. Oh, gorgeous. Wow. Okay, I want to go into this. Representing the missing and murdered Indigenous women. According to the group, this project have been documented in Instagram has given them a platform to speak out on the issue that is important to Indigenous communities. One issue close to the heart of the Tape family is missing and murdered Indigenous women, and it became a part of the project through the red scarves worn by the dancers, a color that became a symbol to raise awareness about the issue. Eugene Tape's cousin's missing, and his family has been searching for her for years. Prior to the project, he designed a silhouette of a dancer on a red scarf to represent the women who are missing. In each photo shoot of the project, the dancers have worn the scarves. Aw. I've always been an advocate for the missing and murdered Indigenous women, he said. Every time we dance, we're honoring those who are missing. The guy said the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women became efforts to find women lacking funding and infrastructure by bringing awareness to the issue. Y'all, missing, murdered Indigenous women are often taken and sold into slavery or even killed. All right, guys, I'm going to come back to the grand entry. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of grand entry. I shall return in about 2 minutes. One thing you will notice about Native Americans is if you notice, not that every Native American is dark-skinned and dark hair. Somebody said, how much Indian blood do you need to have in you to be Indian? Guys, more about the heart than the blood. Well, the answer is usually one drop. This is a tea dress because it looks like the letter T that this woman in the black and white plaid has on. I'm trying to find my mouse. Look at these young children. Oh, these are all these barrettes right here that you see these Native Americans having on are all beaded. Look at this older woman with her tea dress with all her ribbon art on it. Oh, that is so precious. These are the golden age women. Now this one right here that I'm pointing at with the fringe hanging, that's solid beadwork on the top of those dresses. Oh my gosh, you want to talk about a lot of weight? They can weigh upwards of 60 to 70 pounds. That's why they're not jumping. This is a regular shawl. They have their fans. These is otter hanging from their braids. This dress here, you can see the fringe, the breastplate, and everything. It is heavy. I'll be right back, y'all. Okay, I'm back, y'all. Okay, so anyway, we are in the grand entry of the powwow. All the competitors circle the drum. And y'all have any questions about this? You are more than welcome to ask me. Where is my pencil? There it is. I got to put that back up front. So I just wanted to show how beautiful and colorful this is. It's stunning. Let me try and get past the grand entry a little bit because it goes on and on until there's your jingle dancers. That's what a jingle dance looks like. The footwork does mean something. You do what you do on one foot, you do on the other foot. The leggings, which are the colorful things around the ankles, and the moccasins are fully beaded. They are absolutely stunning. And these are the fancy shawls. They kind of mimic butterflies or birds as they dance. They're kind of dancing mildly right now. If you've ever seen a full dance, it's stunning. Absolutely stunning. But all of the moccasins, the earrings, there we go. The headbands is beaded. In fact, I have mine. I think I'll come on sometime and show you some of what it looks like. Like this gold vest this gentleman has on here is fully beaded. His cuffs right here are fully beaded. The roach is porcupine. Sometimes they'll use deer tail, eagle feathers, which are legally gotten, not illegally gotten. There are a lot of fake ones out there because you can't just go up and get them. And there's some really good fakes out there. It's hard to tell. But that is what a grand entry looks like. All the dancers come in and they keep circling until every dancer is in the arena. It is awesome. Okay, there's the end of the grand entry for powwow. I love powwow. I haven't gone to powwow in a little hot minute. Oh, men's traditional. Let's watch him. They tell stories. Like when they get real low, they're looking. They just tell stories with the dance. But isn't it gorgeous? Okay, let's get that on. I am looking. We still do not have. We are in a verdict watch. Woohoo. Let me listen. Ooh, didn't mean that. I think he's going off. We are now in 3 hours and 7 minutes of verdict watch. Let's see if he's. I love watching Recovery Addict, and the two that I watch the most are Recovery Addict, and yeah, it looks like he's going off screen. I love to watch the Recovery. Oh shoot! Didn't mean to do that. That's fine. Okay. I love to watch Recovery Addict. I watch Emily D. Baker. I love Lawyer You Know and Runkle of the Baileys are the top court shows that I watch. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Is my bottle empty? Bottle empty, y'all. I need my Mary here. She can get me my coffee. I'm looking. I'm looking for something we can watch. Oh, I want you to see this. This here is a traditional dress. All of this upper leather part that's above the fringe is 100% beaded. It's hard to tell from here, but they're white beads or tan beads. The purse is 100% beaded. That little yellow thing sticking out is beaded. The crown is beaded. The earrings are beaded. The hair ties are beaded. And this long duster is beaded. So everything that's colorful is beaded on these dresses, y'all. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning, stunning, stunning work. I have done mine. Now I'm trying to add to it. Well, guys, I was hoping. Did he end his live? Please tell me he did not. No, let me go back to him. Recovery addict. He is. Yeah. Is he live? Or did he end it? Let me tune in. Okay, looks like he went to lunch. So I think I'm going to do the same thing, y'all. We're going to go to lunch. We're going to take a break. And I'll come back in about an hour or less whenever the jury decides to hit back into the swing of things and come back in and say, oh, we got a verdict. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and end my live stream. You guys are freaking amazing. I really appreciate you. And I hope that you guys have a good lunch. We will return in a little bit